a maiden with a big bear trap. That ain't very romantic, is it?
Not too.
I've been paddling for 2 days, and I ain't coaxed a tune out of this thing yet.
You think that's going to give you an edge with the ladies?
We're going to New Orleans, ain't we? I don't expect you to understand, you being a backwoodsman. But if they're in gingham, you gotta sing 'em. Hey, if they're in gingham, you gotta sing 'em. Ruin 'em if you don't tune 'em. That's pretty good, ain't it?
You sing that under some winters, I know, and you're going to get scalded for sure.
You're probably right. Hey, how about this? I asked her daddy for her hand, said give it to me this minute. I traded a cow for my true love, for good measure I threw in a spinet.
I know it's not going to be good for your plunking hand, but if you put that thing down and start paddling, we're going to get there a little faster.
Daniel, ain't an ounce of romance in your soul. I'm stuck on a New Orleans lass. I met at the old Mont of Grass. She twirled her umbrella, bumped into this fella who rode in from Cumberland Pass. This is really some place, isn't it, Daniel? Thank you.
Sure is, Josh. You know, I heard a fella talking to the hotel clerk, and he said there were 12,000 people living in New Orleans already.
Just seems impossible. You know it? All of these people crowded into one little old bitty place. I'm sorry. You know, I got a feeling that you could live here for a year and still not meet everybody.
You know something, Josh? Hadn't thought much about it.
You could probably take Boonesboro, put it across the street, people pass it all day long, would never even see it.
More than likely, but that's all the more reason for living in Boonesboro.
Oh, I wouldn't want to live here. But you gotta admit it's a good place to visit.
I'm not going to fight you on that.
Oh, lady, be careful. Where are you going?
Elementary, monsieur. It's those cutthroats who are following me. Now, do you permit me to...
Wait, now that's not going to happen to you as long as we're here. Now, since these streets are free and all, suppose you just find another one to play on, all right, little fella?
And suppose you keep your overlong American nose out of our business. And that goes for your fur-hatted friend, too. Now, get out of my way before I get...
Out!
He's busy. Try me.
Lemouche! Lemouche!
À bientôt, America.
Just when it's starting to get good, too, huh, Daniel?
That big one's got a head of cast iron.
Wonder why they ran off.
I don't know, but I'm sure glad he did.
She's gone, too.
Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, with an eye like an eagle and as tall as a mountain was he. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man. He was brave, he was fearless, and as tough as a mighty oak tree. From the coonskin cap on the top of old Dan to the heel of his rawhide shoe, the rippin'est, roaring'est, fighting'est man the frontier ever knew. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, and he fought for America to make all Americans free. Daniel Boone.
Well, why would you just run off without saying goodbye, thank you, or anything?
Well, maybe she remembered something she had to do.
Why would those two fellas be chasing her?
Josh, you've asked me a question I can't answer.
Bonjour, Monsieur Boone, Monsieur Clément. You have returned so soon.
Mr. Hamel.
Your business was concluded satisfactorily?
Very well, thank you. As a matter of fact, it went so well, we'll probably be leaving tomorrow morning.
Oh, that is too bad. Good for you, of course, but bad for me. It is such a pleasure to have you as a guest. Something is wrong, Monsieur Clément? I can be of some assistance.
No, not unless you're good at solving riddles.
Riddles, Monsieur?
I think we'll just take the key and a good hot bath. Josh here's had a rough day.
Ah, but of course, monsieur. Number 12.
Thank you. Come on, Josh, you've been waiting for something to happen, and it has. I think you can stand a little freshen up and make you feel better.
Well, you ain't exactly no lily of the valley yourself.
She's in room 11.
It's this way. I almost hope she refuses to tell me where she hid it. There it is, 11.
Mademoiselle Jaunet, this is the proprietor. I have some lovely flowers for your room.
Thibault should have watched the hallway for the girl while you searched the room.
No, help me search the bureau drawers.
Thibault.
Well.
Monsieur,
If you don't beat all, just when I thought I'd never see you again and you turn up. What'd you ask the man at the desk from... Wait a minute. I don't remember giving you my name.
Oh, no, monsieur. But I asked him for the handsome young American.
Well, I ain't gonna quarrel with you. I might say there's something wrong with your eyesight, but... Oh, I'm sorry the way I look. I just stepped out of the tub.
Oh, please, monsieur,
Clemens. Josh Clemens.
Monsieur Clemens, I will return later.
No. You don't have to do that. You just stay right where you are, and I'll get over here behind this whatchamacallit, and we can go right on talking. Yeah, I was saying to Dan, that feller's with me this morning. I said, it's kind of a shame the way you had to run off. I kind of thought, well, you know, you're in New Orleans a couple of days, and you sell your skins, and you kind of like to meet folks, and, you still there?
Oh, oui, monsieur. I'm still here. My name is Eugenia.
Oh, that's a pretty name, Eugenie.
Merci, monsieur.
You can call me Josh.
Oh, Josh.
I hope you never run into them fellers again. I mean, I hope they didn't run into you.
Oh, no.
What they won't. I mean, not that it's any of my business, but...
Oh, but they're from my guardian. You see, I'm of age, of course, but they do not want me to receive my inheritance.
Oh, that's too bad. You need any more help, though, you just say the word, Eugenie.
Oh.
Maybe I could go talk to him. I mean, your guardian.
Oh, that's very kind of you, monsieur. But only what I would expect of someone so gallant.
Well, I didn't do anything that anybody else wouldn't have done.
Ah, you look so handsome.
I do?
Mm.
Like I said a while ago, I think there's something wrong with your vision, but there ain't nothing wrong with mine. And you sure are. I mean, that's a pretty dress.
Merci, monsieur. I have so much to thank you for. Not only your compliments, but the way you so gallantly defended me.
Anytime. I bet if we looked, we could find a nice place to have some lunch. You know that?
Look what we have here, Thibault. The interfering backwoodsman.
Just to make things a little more even.
Listen, American, we have no quarrel with you.
The girl.
You mean the one you was chasing this morning? Well, you're gonna have to look someplace else. I don't keep her in my shirt pocket. Now, this rifle's getting heavy. Either I'm gonna use it or I'm gonna put it down. The decision's up to you. Good thinking.
Oh.
They're gone. Everything's all right.
You were magnifique, Josh.
Daniel. Eugenie, it's my friend Daniel Boone. Daniel, this is Miss Mademoiselle Eugenie.
Genet. Enchanté, Monsieur Boone.
Miss Jonay, I just saw the two men that were chasing Miss Jonay.
If they don't know she's in here. Guardian, they work for her guardian.
I'm sure Monsieur Boone is not interested in my troubles, Josh.
Well, that's not so, Miss Jonay, if we can be of some help.
See, Eugenie? Well, Daniel, her guardian's trying to steal her inheritance.
Well, have you been to the authorities?
Oh, well, no. Because you understand, it's a family matter.
I see.
I have imposed upon you long enough, gentlemen.
Well, I thought we was going to have lunch.
Oh, another time, perhaps, Josh.
For supper?
Oh, we shall see.
You know, them two fellers might still be out there.
Oh, well, I'm right across the hall from you, and I'm sure they will not try anything again. Au revoir. Au revoir, monsieur.
Daniel, do we just have to go home tomorrow?
Well, Mr. Phelps is going to pay us for our furs first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
We just now agreed and arrived at a price. We could stay here in the city. And, of course, with the things happening to you that are bound to happen to you, I would say there was an excellent chance of your ending up without a shilling for a whole season's worth of trapping.
All right.
Well, now, Josh, you are a grown young man, and I will not stand in your way if you want to stay here in the city and spend your money.
Oh, Boy, she sure is a pretty young thing, now, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
Man, the way she talks and acts, you just feel like you want to help her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I might just sing her a song tonight. But I'm going to do some tuning first. This thing don't sound right.
The American may know something. The girl could have confided in him.
I can make him talk.
No. I will do it my way.
Where are you going, my pretty little miss, my little brown-eyed daisy? If I don't find me a young man soon, I think I'm going crazy. A rink-tum-mink-tum, dee-dee-dee-um, a rink-tum-mink-tum, doo-dee. Would you mind telling me something? How do you expect to go out and eat and see the sights in your bare feet?
Well, I don't, but I do expect to get a good night's sleep.
Daniel, what's got into you? How often do you get to New Orleans anyway? Well, where's your spirit of adventure?
Over in Mr. Phelps' store with the bales of fur that we toted in here. Now, you just going out and see the sights and sounds here in New Orleans, and I'm kind of sorry you got to do it by yourself.
Oh, I don't have to do it by myself. You heard Miss Eugenie say she's going to have supper with me.
Well, that's not exactly the way I recall it. Seems to me like she said, we shall see.
Well, that's good enough for me. And don't wait up for me.
Who is it?
It's me, Josh Clements. You ready for supper?
No, I have the mal de tête. Well, a headache. I'm so sorry.
Oh, me too. Maybe if you got out and got some fresh air, it might make you feel better.
Oh, no, I'll just lie down. Oh, but you go ahead to supper, and perhaps later I will feel more like going out.
All right. Well, I'll be back in about an hour.
All right.
Evening. If you're looking for Josh, I thought he was with you.
Oh, Monsieur Boone, what you must think of me entering your room without being invited. I had a terrible headache, and I told Josh that when I felt better, I would come over.
Well, that's perfectly all right, mademoiselle.
I did not know, of course. I did not even dream that you would be here. When you see Josh, would you tell him that my headache is much better?
Well, if you would like to find him, he's probably in that fancy eating place over there across the street.
Oh, well, merci, monsieur.
Well, I'm sure glad you got rid of that old headache so fast.
Oh, well, they come and they go.
It seems a shame that a pretty young thing like you ought to have to worry like that.
Oh, do you think I'm pretty, Josh?
Pretty? Why, you're prettier than dew on a whole field of daisies.
Oh, no one has ever told me that before.
Well, it's about time somebody did.
Well, when one has been raised in a convent, the world seems so new. Sometimes I feel so helpless.
You need a man to take care of you.
Ah, but who can one trust? My Mother Superior told me about men.
Well, there's all kinds of men, you know.
But you are different, Josh. But I have no right to take up so much of your time. You did not come to New Orleans to become involved with me.
Well, that's been the nicest thing about all of it. Hey, why don't we see some of New Orleans?
Ah, there are cafes and bistros right down the street.
Well, let's go.
After we finish our demi-tasse.
Oh, I couldn't eat another bite. I'll just drink my coffee.
Who is it?
Police, monsieur.
I'm sorry to disturb you, Monsieur Boone. This is...
Captain Roquelin, à votre service.
Well, in that case,
Allez-vous-en.
If you'll excuse me.
would you have a seat?
Non, merci.
Wasn't aware that we'd busted any of your laws.
Oh, no, monsieur. Far from it. I only want information. Pardon. Information.
Information? Information about what?
You have heard of Benvenuto Cellini?
No, I can't say that I have.
The world's greatest gold and silversmith. Born 1500, died 1571. Today, his smallest work commands a fortune. A fortune. The Cellini pendant belongs to His Majesty Louis of France. It is fashioned of diamonds and pearls and gold. It was stolen from the royal collection 2 months ago. We traced it here to New Orleans.
Worth a lot, is it?
Conservatively, 100,000 of your American dollars, 400,000 francs. A tidy sum, no?
Yes, it is. But I don't see what...
We have a reason to believe that one of the thieves who brought the Cellini pendant to New Orleans was a woman who calls herself Eugénie Jaunet. You know her.
No. Met her. Are you going to arrest her?
Our interest is first and foremost recovery of the Cellini pendant. And alas, the Jaunet woman had accomplices.
2 men. One taller than me, the other much shorter.
Exactly. You have seen them.
Well, you could say that.
Our information is that the Jaunet woman had stolen the Cellini pendant from the accomplices so that they too pursue her. Well, I will disturb you no more, monsieur. Perhaps I will return to talk to your friend. He is out. He is. We policemen have our informers. Is he attracted to Mademoiselle Jaunet? I would not blame him.
Well, you might ask him yourself.
Indeed. You have been most helpful.
This is the wonderful time of the day in New Orleans. When the sun goes down and the breeze is just coming up across the river. All the lamps and candles are lit. Is it not gay, Josh?
Yes, it is. You sure don't find nothing like this in Boonesboro, I'll tell you that.
What are you thinking about?
Just remembering how soon I got to go back. But I'll say one thing. Meeting you has made this a beautiful trip. You get to New Orleans often?
This is my first visit.
Is that right? Well, where'd you say your guardian was from?
Oh, well, do you know this part of New France well, Josh?
Natchez Trace, about all I know.
Well, it's upcountry New Orleans, a place called Fontainebleau.
Fontainebleau.
Oh, look. How pretty.
Your guardian, he wouldn't hurt you, would he?
Oh, to get his hands on my money, I'm afraid he would do anything.
What's his name, just in case Daniel and I might run into him sometime?
Rockland.
Rockland.
How soon will you have to leave New Orleans, Josh?
Daniel said tomorrow. But we might be able to squeeze another day out of it, though.
It is the custom when new friends part that the man give the woman a gift, a keepsake, a memento of their meeting.
I think it's a good idea. I did real good at the first, and I'd be glad to buy you a keepsake.
Oh, well, no, it must be something that you already have. You understand, it's the custom.
I understand, but I don't think I got a thing in the world you'd want.
Oh, well, I'm sure if we think very hard, we will find something.
I did bring an extra buckskin shirt with me. It's got fringe all over it. Becky made it for me. That's Daniel's wife. You'd like her.
I don't think that a shirt would be exactly right, though. Do you?
No, I guess not. Well, I ain't got no ring or nothing like that. Ring would make a good keepsake, wouldn't it?
Oh, very good. Something that you cherish and carry with you.
Well, I'm a doggone fine look through everything I got, and all I got left is my pack.
Yes, and your guitar.
My guitar?
You cherish that?
Yeah. But you wouldn't want no big old guitar.
Oh, no. It's, of course, much too valuable for you to part with.
Well, it's not that. It's just that you don't connect up ladies and guitars, you know. I mean, I'd be glad for you to have it, but...
Oh, no. It's much too valuable.
Well, it's not as valuable as our friendship.
Oh, no, absolutely no.
Oh, I'd just be proud if you'd accept it and take care of it and maybe think of me once in a while when you look at it.
Well, there is that. I could keep it tuned for you until we meet again.
Sure you could. Eugenie, please. Please say you'll keep it as a keepsake.
Well, only if you will accept this from me.
I'll cherish that as long as I live. Now, you wait right here, and I'm going to go get the guitar.
Miss Jonah come back with you?
She sure did. She's right across the hall. Why?
If you'll lie just a minute, I'll tell you something.
I'll be right back. Here. He's been a real faithful old friend. You be good to him, he'll be good to you.
Oh, you can be sure that I shall. Merci, Josh.
Josh, we got some talking to do.
Anything you say, old friend.
Where'd you leave your guitar?
Miss Eugenie has got it as a keepsake. You packing already? I thought you said you're going to get a good night's sleep.
Josh, some things have happened, and I want us to get an early start first thing in the morning.
Not before breakfast, my good friend, because me and Miss Eugenie got an appointment.
Josh, sit down. I'm going to do some talking, and I want you to just sit there and listen. Now, while you were gone, I had a visitor.
Daniel, I don't believe it. I don't believe a word of it. There ain't nobody ever going to convince me that that pretty little thing's a thief. I don't care who they are. And I can prove it. What did you say that policeman's name was?
Roqueland, not that it matters.
See? He isn't a policeman. That's her guardian. The one that's been trying to steal her inheritance. I can prove it. Come on. You'll see how wrong you are. That's funny. Eugenie, it's me. She ain't here.
Wherever she went, she wasn't too interested in taking her keepsake with her.
Have you found the pendant?
Well, no, we didn't.
Imbecile!
We haven't done any good following her.
Why bring the girl then? Remove the handkerchief.
Certainly.
Well, my girl, our first meeting since you left the ship at the wharf without the courtesy of saying goodbye to us.
I will make her talk, Chief.
You hear, Lemouche? No subtlety at all. But one must say of him that he enjoys his work. Now let us be done with all this foolishness. Amelia at the hotel is ready with the money. When you tell us what you have done with the pendant. $10,000, 40,000 francs. Enough to make you independent for life here in the New World. That is not enough for you. You had to steal from your own friends. From me! Who took you from the gutters of Calais and made a lady of you. Very well. Even my considerable patience is at an end.
If you harm me, you will never see the pendant.
Empty words. Our good friend Lemouche could make the Sphinx talk, I believe. I see you believe me. You know that I'm a man of my word. You will not leave here alive unless you tell us where you have hidden the pendant.
And after I tell you, then what?
Your freedom.
And my share of the sale.
Of all the nerve.
10,000 francs. A gift for all time's sake. And consider yourself lucky. I will deduct the 10,000 francs from my share. And not 1 centime more, Eugenie.
Very well.
I applaud your good sense.
Well, I don't believe it. I just can't. I mean, after all, she was raised in a convent, Daniel. I don't mean that I don't believe you. But she told me that her guardian was doing his best to steal her inheritance.
Including pretending to be a police officer. Now, come on, Judge.
It's the Americans. They're in my room.
If he were her guardian, why would he want to pretend to be somebody else? And another thing, where is she? Where did she disappear to?
I don't know. Right now, I don't know much of anything.
I will get rid of them, but let me go in alone.
Eh bien, but remember, no tricks.
All right. All right. You get that policeman to tell me that himself, and I'll believe it.
I'll do that the first thing in the morning.
Oh, Monsieur Boone, George. What a surprise.
Where you been?
Oh, well, I was out. Now I'm back.
You know, while you were gone, that fellow you said was your guardian? He came over here and told Daniel he was a policeman.
Miss Jonay, Captain Roqueland paid me a visit tonight. Now, normally we don't go poking our noses into matters that are not our concern, but you've kind of made this into our business by involving Josh. So I think we're entitled to know what's going on.
Well, you're right, Monsieur Boone. I did lie to you. Yes, Roqueland is of the police and not my guardian. I said that only because even now I cannot bear to think I'm a criminal. I, messieurs, am of the French upper class. And when my poor father and mother died, I was left penniless to bring up a younger brother. All that we had went to pay the death duties, and only one thing left, my mother's diamond pendant.
The Cellini pendant.
Oui. That was to be my dowry. And my brother fell in with bad companions and, in order to save himself from going to prison, sold my pendant to a minister of the king. Messieurs, without my knowledge. So I stole it back. There was no other way to get it. And I fled to America. Oh, monsieur, legally, I am a thief. Morally, that is my story.
Well, I believe you. And I'll just be doggone if that makes you a thief. I mean, after all, it was her property, Daniel.
Captain Rockland said that the pendant was stolen from the royal collection.
Oh, oui, but in France, monsieur, everything ends up in the royal collection.
Well, what do you intend doing with the pendant?
Well, I didn't know. I did not even think.
Well, Daniel, you believe her now?
I can see that your friend is still in doubt, Monsieur Josh. And I can understand why.
Well, he doesn't know you like I do.
You're so very kind to me, Monsieur Josh. But under the circumstances, I think it would be best if you should retain your guitar.
Well, it's your keepsake.
Yes?
Mademoiselle Journet, this is the police. Open the door.
Moment. Take it back, George. It's much too valuable for me.
Ah, Monsieur Boone, we meet again. This gentleman, your companion?
Josh Clement.
Captain Roquelin, Paris Police.
Them two, they police too?
They are, monsieur. Oh, yes, I understand. There was a slight, comment dit-on, altercation.
Well, there wasn't nothing slight about it. Interrupted was more like it. Why wasn't he in uniform before?
We do not wish to advertise our presence, monsieur. Theft from the government is a matter of some embarrassment. But now, this is an official visit. You understand. An interrogation of Mademoiselle Journet. Well, monsieur, you will wish to return to your room. It is late.
You sure you don't want this for a keepsake?
We'll discuss it later, Josh.
Good night, monsieur.
If you need me for anything...
Good night, Josh.
The pendant.
And you have the 10,000 francs?
The pendant, quickly.
Of course.
We looked there. We went through all the drawers.
But you did not look above. It's gone. It's not there. Someone is taking it.
She lies. It was never there.
This is where I put it. But I do not...
Yes? You have thought of something.
No one else has been in this room except...
Except the Americans. Now let us end this farce.
Not only the Americans, Rockland. Also these two.
Yes, and we found nothing.
Yes, but what was to prevent them from finding the pendant where I hid it and keeping it for themselves?
Yes, the point is very well taken. What was to prevent you from doing just that, Thibault?
Don't you see what that gutter snipe is trying to do? She's trying to turn you against us. How could you believe?
Where it is a matter of the Cellini, I can believe anything or nothing. However, had you stolen it, which has occurred to you, I'm sure, one time or another. Had you stolen it, you would have never brought the girl to me. You would have, my good Thibault, ordered Les Mouches to strangle her and dispose of the body.
No, you must believe me. I did not trick you.
No, you did not trick us when you ran from the ship, or ran from these two, or told fairy tales to the Americans, or lied when we finally caught you.
I told you, you should have let me have her.
Les Mouches is right. I should have let him have you.
But you wouldn't. You couldn't, Rocklin.
1 hour ago, perhaps I couldn't, but now I can. And I shall enjoy it.
No! I will scream! I will rob the hotel and tell him that you're not the police!
Since the owner of the hotel is himself a receiver of stolen goods, I do not think it will matter. But please do scream if it will make you feel better. One scream is all Les Mouches will permit, I imagine.
No, you keep him away from me. You've got to believe me, Raquel. You've got to. I did not lie to you. I showed you where I put the pendant.
Attendez, Les Mouches. Then who removed it?
The nosy American, the one she calls Josh.
No, it was the hotel proprietor.
More lies. He's buying the pendant. Why would he?
Why not? Why pay 400,000 francs for something if you can get it for nothing? Thibault, get him up here.
Bien sûr.
You have much to answer for, Eugenie. You better pray that we find the pendant.
Rocklin, would I steal from you?
Why not? If you knew I had the pendant.
No.
He lies. He would steal the eyes from his own mother for gain. Les Mouches, make him talk.
She's the one who lies, believe me.
Silence!
You knew that she had stolen it from us. You knew that when she came here, she was hoping to make a separate deal with you.
But she never approached me, I swear. Don't let him hurt me. Don't let him hurt me.
Les Mouches, let him go.
You believe him?
Thank you for your faith in me.
I have faith only in her greed and in your cowardice, which in your case outweighs her greed.
I have no dignity. I steal, I overcharge, I lie. But when it comes to fear, I am a man of complete honor.
Please, Rocklin, tell him to get out. I'm getting sick.
Bon. Allez-vous-en.
Thank you. It was unkind of you to accuse me of betrayal. I go.
Now what?
I have been thinking. Perhaps we have been underestimating our little protégée. She was extremely anxious to get rid of the bumpkin's guitar. Can you think of a better hiding place? Monsieur Clemens, open the door. It is the police. Open the door, police.
I'm coming.
I regret the inconvenience, monsieur. Your friend, where is he?
I don't know. He's not here. What do you want me for? What are you doing with her?
It will be necessary for you to accompany us to the prefecture.
What?
The police station. We will not keep you there long. We are still not satisfied with her story. Perhaps you will be able to clarify matters. Les Mouches, the guitar.
Well, what do you want with the guitar?
Evidence, monsieur. Please get dressed and hurry. Inside, quickly.
This don't look like no... I was right. You're not police.
Bravo, Monsieur Clemens.
You're not her guardian either.
Heaven forfend, no, Monsieur Clemens. Call us seeker after truth.
Wouldn't Seeker of the Pendant be a little more like it? I don't know where it is. Ask her. She'll tell you.
The young lady is most reticent on many points, monsieur. Chief among them, of course, the whereabouts of the pendant. It is my thought that you have been closer to it than you realize, if indeed you are the innocent you would have us believe.
Now, why don't you cut out all that fancy talk and tell me what I'm doing here and what you want with my guitar?
The answer to the first question will depend to a great extent on the very instrument, American. Le mouche, the guitar.
Le mouche. You broke my guitar.
He's not there.
I never thought it would be.
I confess my hopes were high.
Was it there? Rockland, your hunch was right. But somebody beat you to it. Her.
No. No, I swear. I did lie to you before. I put it in the guitar, not the chiffonier, but I did not remove it. I could not. There was no time.
You must have really had your fun making a fool out of me. Keepsake. A boob. What a flop-eared, ox-headed boob I am.
Rockland, I say it again. It's her. Nobody else could have known it was in the guitar. Nobody else had the chance to take it out.
Your logic is irrefutable, my dear Thibault.
Looks like a case of the biter gets bit, doesn't it? You stole the pendant, she stole it from you, and now somebody stole it from her.
No, American. She merely removed it from one hiding place to another. All roads lead to her.
No. I swear.
Of course you would do anything, but you have cried wolf once too often. I will give her 1 minute to tell us where the pendant now is.
No, Josh, don't let them do this to me.
10 seconds gone. Twenty seconds.
Tell your lackey to hand me his gun. I shall count to 3, then I will fire. You may even live a few hours, Rockland, in exquisite agony.
Thibault, do as she says.
Thibault, you and your little friend over there.
Good girl, Eugene.
You too. Over with the others.
Over there with the others.
Now you turn around very slowly. You are right, backwoodsman. You are, what do you call it? A boob. A fitting title for you.
All this will be for naught. We will track you down.
Indeed, Rockland. The New World is a big place. And when I find the pendant, and I shall because I now know who must have it, I shall be swallowed up as though I never existed. Au revoir, Bumpkin Josh.
Hold it. Stand.
Josh, I knew that you would come. You have no idea how glad I am to see you. All those terrible things that I said to you last night. Of course, I didn't mean a word of it. But you know that, don't you?
Of course he knows that, ma petite.
Oh, but I had to say those things to make him believe that you and I had a... How do you say,
A lover's quarrel, no?
I was afraid for you. They would stop at nothing. Look at them, those animals. Oh, you know that I will never be anything but grateful to you. And I will show you what my gratitude means once you get the keys. Hurry, my Josh, my gallant Josh. But be ever so quiet so you do not wake up the Claude who's sleeping so soundly there. Then we will get to know each other. Really know, Josh. Hurry, my darling. Hurry.
Oh, I'd really like to get to know you. Just as soon as you get out. Sat and piped, I heard him sing praise of Orly, 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 made of golden hair. Sunshine came along and swallows in the air. Daniel, what made you think she hid that pendant in my guitar?
Oh, nothing special, Josh. Everything in general. Caught her looking at it once when she didn't know I was watching. I reckon she seemed almost too good to be true. I didn't know what I was looking for or what I was going to do with it when I found it, but I kind of had a hunch it was going to be valuable.
I thought I was a goner. Do you think she'd have really pulled that trigger if I'd have grabbed for that gun?
I'm sure glad you didn't try finding out.
Daniel, what do you really think of me? I mean, deep down.
Well, I think you're slow to anger. But once you get mad, look out. Friendly, generous.
Stupid, dumb, green. It's a green I could hide in short grass.
Better men than you've been fooled by girls not half as smart as that girl back there in New Orleans. Maybe next time you'll be luckier. You might as well just forget it. Could have happened to anybody. Could have happened to me.
But it didn't. It never does. And why, if you ain't smarter than I?
Well, like I say, maybe I was just luckier than you, Josh. After all, I did get Rebecca to marry me. Although sometimes I can't really figure out why she did.
Daniel, one more thing. That fella, the one that caused all the trouble. Benvenuto who?
Governor Hamilton? Angela.
Mr. Hamilton.
Angela. I demand to know what the wife of a high-ranking British officer is doing in this camp.
Perhaps you'd better ask her, Governor.
My dear?
Mr. Hamilton, please sit down. I prefer to stand, and I won't be here very long. You wanted to know what I'm doing here. It's quite simple. I came to find you. We've been worried since you were captured. Very worried.
Utter nonsense, Mrs. Lackland. Either give me an explanation I can believe, or I shall be forced to form my own opinion.
And just what would your opinion be, Governor?
I should say it rather smelled of treason.
Then treason it is. I came here to help my husband, Mr. Hamilton. He plans to surrender Fort Detroit to the Americans.
Surely you're not serious.
Oh, but I am.
Betray Detroit? But why? Why?
Perhaps as a woman I should like to see this senseless war come to an end.
But this is treason.
I thought you wouldn't understand that, Governor. Is it easier for you to believe that we're doing it for the rather substantial reward the Americans have offered us?
You can't do this.
Easy, sir. Guards! See the governor back to his quarters.
You'll never succeed. But even if you do, neither you nor your husband will ever dare set foot on English soil again.
With your permission, Major, I'd like to return to my quarters.
Certainly. Thank you for coming. You can come out now, Mr. Boone.
A real calculating woman. I'd hate to have her for an enemy.
Are you convinced that she means it?
Well, she said so plain enough, so I reckon I'll have to believe her.
Good. Mrs. Lackland is on the way to join her husband in Detroit. You'll accompany her as a guide. Once there, Colonel Lackland will furnish you with plans of the fort's defenses and whatever other information he considers valuable.
Is it all right if I take a friend along?
As protection against Mrs. Lackland?
I might need it.
Take anyone you want. Here are your orders. Now, about the plans. I want them delivered to me before I cross the mountains. With them, Washington will give me everything I need to move against Detroit.
Now, you're going to be on the move, too. Where will we meet?
I'll wait for you here. Or you wait for me.
Kanawha Pass. All right. I'll meet you there.
Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, with an eye like an eagle and as tall as a mountain was he. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man. He was brave, he was fearless, and as tough as a mighty oak tree. From the coonskin cap on the top of old Dan to the heel of his rawhide shoe, the rippin'est, roaring'est, fighting'est man the frontier ever knew. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, and he fought for America to make all Americans free. Daniel Boone.
It's really beautiful, this country of yours. I hope it stays this way always. In these wildernesses, a man is forced to be an individual. No crowds to follow, no one to turn to for advice. He has to be completely self-reliant. Don't you find that true, Mr. Boone?
Haven't thought much about it, ma'am.
No, of course you wouldn't. Here a man's thoughts would have no cause to turn inward.
You know, I think that self-doubt and invidious comparisons with others, well, they're products of civilization. Wouldn't you say so, Mr. Boone?
Here's your bag, ma'am.
What are we stopping here for?
That's where we change rivers. All right, Cully, let's pick her up. Golly, why don't you stay down here and see if you can catch a mess of fish? I'll take the gear and Miss Lackland up there at the rocks and make camp. Might even whip up a batch of biscuits.
Biscuits? Please, Mr. Boone, why don't you both go fishing? I'll make the biscuits. I'm still trying to digest those last little stones you cooked the first night out.
Well, in that case, I'll try for a turkey.
No, thank you. I finished.
Anybody care for any more biscuits?
Yes, you do, Mr. Cully. Please eat them.
Dan?
All yours, Cully.
These are mighty good biscuits. I mean, they're about the best I ever tasted, especially when I've been traveling with Dan. Of course, this turkey grease is pretty good, too, Dan. I mean, especially with these biscuits.
Well, Cully, turkey grease just is. I didn't have anything to do with it.
Mr. Boone shies away from approbation, no matter what the sauce. Are you always so taciturn, Mr. Boone?
Well, I reckon I talk as much as most men. It's just that I'm not too happy with this chore, and I'd kind of like to keep it on a business-like basis.
But how strange that you should be unhappy.
Maybe uneasy would be a better word for it.
Are we violating one of your tenets of honor, Mr. Boone? I mean an Englishman in a position of trust betraying his own country. Such a provincial attitude. Well, what about Count Pulaski? And Kosciuszko, are they fighting for Poland? And the Marquis de Lafayette, is he fighting for France? No, they're fighting for America. So why should my husband have to fight for England just because he is English? Don't you want him on your side?
I don't know, ma'am. I haven't met him yet.
But your reasoning process, or perhaps I should say your lack of one, well, it frightens me. My husband and I are risking our lives to aid your cause. And if you feel this way, how can I be sure you'll even accept the documents my husband plans to turn over to you?
Oh, I reckon I'll have to do that.
And if you feel honorable in accepting them, why should he be dishonorable in handing them over? I appeal to you, Mr. Cully.
Please, ma'am, I'd just like to keep out of the ring.
Why can't you see the truth, Mr. Boone? My husband's act means that Fort Detroit can fall without a shot being fired, without one life being lost, not one drop of blood being shed. Well, far from being treason, I call that the noblest form of humanitarianism.
Ma'am, you talk as if I were arguing with you. Now, there's your bunk, and I suggest you take advantage of it. The canoe part of this trip is almost over, and from then on, it's just going to be walking.
We're that close to the fort?
Yes, ma'am, we are. We should be there tomorrow afternoon. Good night, Mrs. Lackland.
Good night, Mr. Boone.
Hide the canoe.
necessary, Mr. Boone. That man is an English soldier. All I had to do was to tell him I'm Colonel Lackland's wife.
Not that Indian.
Why, do you know him?
That's many lives. The Iroquois bloodhound. If he were the same age, chances are we'd all be here.
Well, what are you going to do about it? You can't stay here.
I aim to stay right here, and Cully, you take her into the fort. If your husband is going to turn those plans over to us, you can bring him back here to me.
You don't trust us, do you, Mr. Boone?
Well, I still haven't seen those plans yet. Cully, remember, you brought Mrs. Lackland here from Montreal all by yourself.
I hope he knows what he's doing.
He knows exactly what he's doing. Well, ma'am, next move is up to you.
Soldier!
Angela. Oh, you don't know what it was to wait so long.
I'm back now, Richard. Darling, this is Mr. Cully.
From Montreal, sir.
This man was your only escort? Is he the man our friend sent?
Can we go to your quarters?
Come along, Mr. Cully. You must be utterly exhausted coming all that way through the wilderness. Rest yourself.
Thank you, Richard.
I gather the principal agent is elsewhere.
Yes, he recognized a savage who knew him in the fort, and now he's waiting outside to meet you.
His name?
Daniel Boone. And I don't think he quite trusts us.
Well, and what about you?
Oh, I'm just obeying orders.
Good fellow. I appreciate a man who obeys orders. And the best way to win the trust of your companion, I would say, would be to follow my part of the bargain at once. I have everything that I promised here. Take me to Mr. Boone. We'll settle this business at once.
But, sir, don't you think that it'd be safer to wait till dark? I mean, you know, it's only a little while.
You see, darling, both the Americans have a preconceived idea about the baseness of our conduct. It makes them behave in a most guilty manner.
Just worried about my neck, ma'am. What are you going to do if anybody recognizes you with Boone?
It's the simplest thing in the world. I'm a grateful husband who wishes to thank in person the intrepid guide who brought my wife safely through the wilderness. And since he cannot endure the sight of civilization, I must go to him in his native habitat. Who could quarrel with that? Come along. Oh, Angela, darling. Your trunks arrived several days ago, and I fixed up the bedroom for you. Do tidy up a bit. We're expecting Governor Carleton at any moment.
And what's the governor of Quebec doing here in Detroit?
I rather suspect he's here to see how I'm running things since Hamilton was captured. This will be very charming to him. Look them over, Mr. Boone. A map of the fort's defenses, both inside and out, together with an inventory of weapons and munitions and a complete list of personnel and their functions. I've placed my life in your hands. Are you convinced now that you can trust me?
Just sit down and rest, Colonel, while I take a look at these.
You'll be returning to Major Grayson at once, I trust? You know, it would have been better had the American troops accompanied you so that I might effect a bloodless surrender right now. But I suppose the Major is encumbered with his prisoners? You know, I can't help but feel sorry for Lieutenant Governor Hamilton. He's a very decent fellow. Do your people really believe that he offered the Indians a bounty for every settler's scalp they brought in?
I'm afraid they do.
It's impossible. I know the man, you see. After my defection, I hope I shall be able to testify as to his good character.
I doubt that your testimony will be worth much, Colonel.
You mean because of my defection? My wife was right. You do believe I'm doing a dishonorable thing.
Let's just say I don't understand it. But if you're going to give us Fort Detroit, we'll take it. And you'll get whatever was promised to you.
All right, you'll have what you came for. When shall I expect the American attack?
You'll be notified in time, Colonel. Right now, I'd like for you to come down to the river and point out some of those emplacements.
I can assure you that map is correct. All right, let's be quick about it.
What's happening?
Fire! It's Governor Carlton. He's arrived and they're giving him a salute. I have to be there. Boone, I can assure you those documents are correct. Now get out of here quickly. Let's return to the fort.
He acts real worried, don't he? The more worried he acts, the better I like it. I begin to think these documents are the real thing.
Dan, you're a real suspicious man.
Just careful. We're not so rushed that we can't take time to wait around after dark to check some of those gun emplacements.
Some Spanish sack I inherited from Mr. Hamilton. I've been saving it as fitting for the occasion. Angela, my dear. Sir?
Thank you, Colonel. What a pity you couldn't have made your journey with me, Mrs. Lackland. All the way from Montreal by water, except for a portage round Niagara, and on a boat fit for the ocean.
I should have loved your company, Governor, although I really enjoyed my wilderness experience.
You know, this great inland waterway must never be lost to England. And it won't be as long as we hold Detroit.
You can rely upon my husband, Governor.
I'm sure of it. The catastrophe that overtook Hamilton frightens me.
It is precisely that catastrophe that dictates my every move.
According to the map, there are gun emplacements up on that vantage point.
Yeah, but if they are, they'll be manned.
Well, I'm not aiming to attack it. I just want to make sure they're there before we head on south. Cully, why don't you swing around and see what you can find?
There's my point. Come on now, lads. Why not go for $5,000 this time?
Get all of our money now.
We can chalk it up. I'll take it out of your next pay packet. Hey, wait a minute. Hey, what's that? Someone's coming.
After him! Boys! Come on now, move it! Come on now, get up out of the car! I want him alive! You hear me, alive? Get up there after him! Come on now, hold there or I fire! Keep going, Cully! I'm all right, lads. To the colonel. Take his stuff.
It's a daring scheme, Colonel. But do you really think it's safe to withdraw so much of Detroit's garrison at a time like this?
Well, the time is in our favor. With Clark on the Wabash and the river bottoms flooded, it would take him weeks to get here, even if he had the supplies, which I doubt.
I only hope your intelligence reports are right.
I'm sure of it, Governor. Just leave everything to Richard.
Very well, Colonel. You have my approval to reduce the garrison by 50 men. I certainly hope it doesn't lead to another disaster.
Thank you, Governor.
Now I believe I'll say goodnight.
Yes?
I beg your pardon, Colonel, but here's a matter what can't wait. We caught this blighter here spying out our guns.
He looks like an ordinary trapper to me.
No, he's no trapper, sir. He had these papers on him. Complete plans of the fort, right down to an inventory of our supplies. Why, sir, he knows more about the place than I do myself.
Yes, there does seem to be some irregularity here.
Colonel, may I? How could any man get the plans to the fort unless someone gave them to him?
Find that out shortly, Governor. Sergeant, you and your men have done well. Back to your post now on the double.
Yes, sir, but there was another one, sir, but he got away.
And there may be more. Back to your post.
Yes, sir, but the one who got away, sir, he was the man what brought your wife into the fort today.
Sergeant, I gave you an order.
Right, sir.
Mrs. Lackland, if what the sergeant said is true, then you should know this man, too. Since you refuse to answer, I'm forced to assume you do. Who are you? Where did you get these papers? My dear Colonel, these documents had to come from your own files. No one but you had access to them, and only you could have...
You're absolutely right, Governor. There's a traitor among us. So don't move or call for help. I've no intention of hanging. Angela, release Boone. Use the rope on the governor. Tie him in the chair. Gag him. Angela, we're leaving. Get what you need from your room. You bungling ox, out the door there. If I die for this, I shan't die alone. Angela? Open the gate.
But, sir, I thought your orders...
Open the gate.
Yes, sir.
After us as soon as someone discovers the governor.
Oh. Colonel, that Indian back in the fort, many lives. Is he in British pay?
A scout and tracker.
May make it a little more difficult.
It's your fault this happened. I told you those plans were correct. Why didn't you believe me?
If I'd have taken those plans to Grayson without checking them for accuracy, he'd have thrown them in the fire.
And might as well for all the good they're going to do us. I ought to have you shot.
If you did, Colonel, you wouldn't know how to get to Grayson now, would you?
I've carried out my end of the agreement, and now Grayson is honor bound to carry out his. Now get us out of here.
Now, you listen to me, Colonel. You just resigned your commission. You have no one left to command. And from now on, you're going to take your orders from me. And the first one is put away that pistol. Now, come along, Miss Lackland. Let's just hope that canoe's where we left it.
You saw the Colonel and Mrs. Lackland?
They have left the fort with the man called Boone.
You can follow?
Tonight? Tomorrow? A moon from now. I can follow.
Good. We'll get them back, many lives. We'll get them all back.
We'll rest here for a moment, Boone. My wife has to catch her breath.
All right, Colonel, it's not far to the water. I'll go after you.
Oh, Richard, my shoes full of sand. Oh, well, this is one journey I didn't expect to make.
Nor I. But when Boone was caught with those documents, I had to do something.
I know, darling, you were marvelous.
Halfway home. Oh, I didn't feel like swimming all the way home upstream. Come on, let's get out of here. It's not quite that simple. Fortunately, I got company.
All right?
All right.
Wait a minute, you mean to say he's going with us? He saved my life. I reckon I ought to return the favor. Besides, if we don't outwit many lives, we're all going to hang. Get in, girl.
All right, Colonel. You're not going to go. You're going to leave tracks for all of us.
I am? Tracks to where?
Anywhere except along the river here.
How much of a start have I got?
Well, I don't know. If it's traveling alone, you ought to be able to keep your lead. See you in Kentucky. Colonel, if you're any good at using one of these things, start doing it.
Oh, Richard, you got me all wet.
All right.
Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned it.
I think I'll soon get the hang of it.
Colonel, why don't you practice some other time when this noise you're making won't get us killed?
Now you keep looking for these tracks in the dark. Even the feeble eyes of my mother could see these. Right you are. Like someone was stomping hard. Yeah, would that mean they was running? Those who are being pursued often. You're very right there, matey. Running hard over the land. I likes that better than open water. Yeah, come on now. I reckon I can follow these myself. Come on. One does not follow a trail by eyes alone. What do you mean? The eyes see tracks. The nose smells the scent of flowers not in bloom. Really? The tracks lead south. But
but the scent of flowers comes across the water.
I don't smell nothing. I will wait here. Run fast and bring a canoe. All right, then. You say so?
Don't you think you'll ever need that again?
If I do, I'll dig it out. I don't want him to find where we've come ashore.
But surely if he's following the false trail.
He won't follow it far. Come daylight, he'll start wondering why he hadn't seen a lot of tracks that look like a woman's. Then he'll think about water. He won't have any trouble finding where we left from. But if we can keep him from finding where we landed, that's that.
Come along, darling, we're leaving.
All right, just let me tie my hair up first.
Let's go.
Sergeant Perkins? Through here. Come on, Scott. This way.
Better sit here and rest a spell, man.
Oh.
If there was anyone after us, Boone, we'd surely know it by now. I think we're safe. Angela can't stand much more of this.
If we're going to rest here, well, I think better make sure that we're safe.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to do a little backtracking.
You mean you're going to leave us here all alone?
I'll be back. If you get hungry and you want something to chew on, there's some jerky in here.
You'd better try and choke some of this down to keep your strength up. It may taste awful, but it's nourishing.
Far ahead are they? Or can't you tell? The hawk above can see them. We go slow. The scent of the flowers grows even stronger. They rest somewhere ahead. No! We will wait here until they move on. Suits me.
Blackman, take off that dress.
What?
Here, put this on. Over here behind the rock.
Now, just a minute, Boone. You're not giving orders to my wife.
Your wife is reeking of perfume.
Well, of course I'm wearing perfume. Well, what else can a poor woman do when
when she can't take a bath.
What business is it of yours, anyway?
I'd say it's more your business than mine. Many lives and 2 British soldiers are coming up that valley. And many lives has been following this scent like a hound. I should have put it together sooner, except I've been surrounded by it night and day. Ms. Lackland, I want that dress.
Oh, Richard.
You better do as he says, Angela.
Please do as I say.
But what if many lives is...
Colonel, there's something mighty strange about this.
Yes, what?
Many lives has followed this scent all the way. And with your wife slowing us down, they could have caught us. Why haven't they?
They're probably waiting for the opportune moment.
2 rifles against 1 pistol. One moment's as good as the next.
Yes, but they want us alive. The British give traitors a trial before hanging them.
Well, they may want you alive and Mrs. Lackland, but the easiest way to accomplish that is by shooting me. Now, they haven't.
I don't know what you're thinking, Boone.
And another thing. Many lives is blazing his trail. Now, I wonder why.
Probably so he'll be sure to find his way back.
Well, he could find his way back blindfolded. He's blazing his trail so someone else can follow him. The question is who and how many?
I've no way of knowing that, Boone. I can only repeat they want Angela and me alive.
You wanted this?
Thank you, Mrs. Lackland. Colonel, I want you to take your wife and going up into that little valley there. There's a stream there. Follow it as far up as you can. I'll find you later.
If you know there's a stream nearby, then you must be in familiar territory.
I've been here before. Here, take my pack. I want to travel light.
Well, what are you going to do?
I'm going to try to get rid of many lives. Now, you all go and I'll stay here and watch until you're well out of sight.
But Boone, if something happens to you, how will we find Grayson?
You better hope nothing happens to me. But if you follow my directions, I'll take you to him by morning.
Boone, you may need this.
You keep it, Colonel. You're more apt to need it than I am.
What's the matter now?
They move again.
Come! Come on, Scott. On your feet.
Expecting me, Colonel?
Boone. Boone. Yes, we're expecting you. Been expecting you for hours.
It took me quite a while to lay a false trail for many lives.
What are you doing coming up from the south? You were behind us.
Well, I must have passed you during the night, Mrs. Lackland.
Where did you get the rifle?
Found out who many lives were blazing that trail for. And did you know there's a whole passel of British soldiers following him?
Well, then, the sooner we're under Grayson's protection, the better. Let's get out of here.
Well, they won't need that many soldiers to take you alive, Colonel. But they are going to need them for something else.
Yes?
Could be said that I'm a worse traitor than you are, because I've been leading British soldiers straight to where Grayson has Governor Hamilton prisoner. Now, that's what those soldiers want, to rescue Hamilton and his men, isn't it? And I've just been wondering, Colonel Lackland, if that's not what you've been after, too.
You were right, Boone. I do need this pistol more than you. Put the rifle down. In view of your suspicions, Boone, I think it best that my soldiers reach Grayson before you do. It has to be a surprise attack. You see, Lieutenant Governor Hamilton is not only a dear friend of mine, but also happens to be Angela's uncle. So we'll just wait right here.
Very clever man, Colonel. I bet you even know how to paddle a canoe. Mrs. Lackland. You know, I'm pretty sure you didn't figure on coming with me. After you handed me those documents, I figured I'd head straight for Grayson. Many lives had followed, blazing a trail for the British soldiers.
But then you were captured.
It sure put a burr under your saddle. If you locked me up, I couldn't lead you to Grayson. You turned me loose.
I had to convince you I was a bona fide traitor. The only way to do that was to help you to escape.
Played your part very well, Colonel.
I think you had a few suspicions, Boone. The worst of it was you kept trying to hide our trail. We were hard put finding ways to leave a trail for many lives to follow.
Like the perfume.
It was the very best perfume, Mr. Boone.
Well, you had me fooled right up until the time I found out that I was acting as a guide for the British Army. There is some comfort in knowing I wasn't traveling with British traitors.
Thank you.
Treason is distasteful, but in this case, the end justified the means.
In your plan to rescue Hamilton, you can forget that, Colonel. Wasting your time, Colonel. I've already warned Grayson.
I don't believe you.
Where do you think I got that gun you're holding?
We may fail in rescuing Hamilton, but at least we won't go back to Detroit empty-handed. I'm taking you prisoner, Boone.
Now, that'd be nice. Except there's just one thing you're not counting on, Colonel.
And what's that?
Well, I don't think they'd like it very much. Colonel? Ms. Lackland? Sergeant?
Blew my clothesline down. I had to do the whole wash over again. Oh, and Cincinnatus, to top it all off, has gone up on the price of flour.
You left out Thursday.
Thursday. Oh, Thursday was calamitous. The cakes I baked for Molly Malone's quilting bee fell. Oh, and butter wouldn't melt in Mrs. Gay's mouth when she saw 'em. And I ruined a batch of soap. Oh, and Daniel, the cabin needs chinking.
Has Israel been behaving?
Well, he's just trailing after Prather Beasley again. And neglecting his chores. You know, the wood box is empty. And he's completely quit bringing in the water.
Well, I'll speak to him about that.
Where'd you say you'd been?
Hmm?
I said, where did you say you'd been?
Oh, Fort Detroit.
And who was with you?
Oh, Cully for the most part. Becky, we need some more hot water. This is kind of lukewarm.
Lukewarm, is it? Cully has been back in Moonsboro 3 days, and I never knew him to wear women's perfume. Don't you lie to me, Daniel Boone.
Oh, that's cold.
What's so funny?
That's the second time this week that perfume's almost got me killed.
This is what I'm worried about.
What is it?
Just the two best things I got. I hope they didn't get all soaked up. Oh.
Books?
Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, with an eye like an eagle and as tall as a mountain was he. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man. He was brave, he was fearless, and as tough as a mighty oak tree. From the coonskin cap on the top of old Dan to the heel of his rawhide shoe, the rippin'est, roaring'est, fighting'est man the frontier ever knew. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, and he fought for America to make all Americans free. Daniel Boone.
What are you doing? Look at my place. What are you really? Look at this.
what's going on here? What was this all about?
He took offense at something that was said. He was asking about you before it all started. Said his name was Tom Lincoln.
Well, what did he want with me?
Oh, I don't know. Daniel, when you look at this place, look at my table, chairs, everything's busted up.
Well, we'll find out when he comes around.
Well, I'll send him over to your cabin. Daniel, that boy of yours fell in the river.
Israel?
That's right.
Here, Nancy. Have a hot cup of tea. Thank you. Israel, I thought I told you to get out of those wet things. Now scoot.
Our books aren't hurt now. Just a mite damp.
That's fine, but the important thing is to get you dried.
Is Israel all right?
Yes, Pa.
He was catching turtles and he fell in the river. And this young woman fished him out.
Oh, no, I fell in and he pulled me out. I want a baby boy just like him. He's got more grit than a sandbar. I went under and he ottered in and swum out to save me. Now, that's the kind of baby boy I hanker for. You must be Daniel Boone.
My husband, Miss Nancy Hanks.
Howdy.
Dan, what happened to your ear? It's been bleeding.
Oh, it's nothing, just a little scuffle.
Nothing. You sit down there. I'll get something to fix it with.
Oh. Nancy Hanks. Where are you from, Miss Hanks?
Elizabethtown. Some folks call me Nancy Sparrow, because I live there with my aunt and uncle, Tom and Betsy Sparrow.
Oh.
They have a lilac bush by the front door.
Let me have a look at that here. Where'd you have the fight?
Cincinnatus's Tavern.
Who hit you?
Some wild young buck by the name of Tom Lincoln.
Then you must have riled him.
I reckon I did.
He's a rip snorter when he's riled.
Do you know him, Mr. Lincoln?
He's a carpenter in Cooper. He made a sauerkraut barrel for my Aunt Betsy.
Well, what brings you here to Boonesboro, Miss Hanks?
I come to find a job. I thought that maybe in a big place like Boonesboro, there might be a family that needs some help.
What about the Nicholas Burnses? Maybe they could use her.
You know, that just might be. They got a whole passel of kids. The last count I made out about 8.
10. Soon be 11. Mrs. Burns is in a family way.
So I noticed.
Do you think they could afford to hire me, the Burnses?
Oh, they're pretty rich. They got 3 horses, 2 cows, and a wagon. Oh, and they brought back a raft full of plunder. Pewter and copperware and all the pots and pans you can shake a stick at. Candle mold, 2 spinning wheels.
Well, did they bring along any books?
I didn't see any.
Well, that's too bad.
Do you like books?
Oh, they open up your eyes in your mind. I want to read all I can so I can be ready for him when he opens up his eyes.
Him? Who?
My boy baby I was talking about. I can just close my eyes and see myself loving him and nursing him and raising him up against the sky and saying, "Here we come." Where from? But I know, deep down inside me, wherever he comes from, that he will rise up into greatness.
How do you know that?
Well, I was walking in the woods, in a grove of wild crabapple trees, and they was in bloom. And I heard a voice above me, like it was in the blossoms. And it said, right out, clear as day, "You will have a boy baby, and he will sit in high places."
The voice of God?
Oh, no. sounded more like my grandmother.
But it must have been most unsettling.
But it is Miss Nancy, isn't it, Miss?
That's the trouble. I know who I want for my boy's father. But he wants somebody else.
Well, maybe things will work out. Becky, could I have a little of that tea?
Of course.
Listen, we've got women in here. I don't want any trouble.
I didn't come for no trouble. My name's Tom Lincoln.
Are you any kin to Mordecai Lincoln?
That's my brother.
I knew your father, Captain Lincoln, before he was killed by the Indians.
That's the only reason I'm here.
Come on in. This is my wife, Rebecca, Mr. Lincoln.
Miss Boone.
Mr. Lincoln.
Nancy Hanks.
Mr. Lincoln,
What are you doing in Boonesboro?
I came to find a job.
A hired girl?
Well, it's better than poking my fist into other people's ears.
I'll see you later, Boone, when you're not so fuddled up with damp females.
Hold your horses. I was just about to leave. Where do these Burnses live?
You can't go out like that. You gotta dry out first and prink yourself up some. You look like a wet dog.
Well, it's better than smelling like one. I'm obliged for the tea.
All right, I'll go with you and get you acquainted with Mrs. Burns.
A wrathful man stirreth up strife, but he who is slow to anger appeaseth strife. Proverbs.
What can I do for you, Mr. Lincoln?
Do you believe in slavery?
No, I don't, do you?
Slavery's against God's law.
And we're both on the same side. But did you come over here to discuss slavery?
Well, no. I come for some advice.
What about?
Well, I've had a job lately hewing out timbers for a new sawmill Denton Gahegan's building down on Squirrel Creek. A couple of days ago, he bought 2 slaves and put them to helping me.
It must have been the 2 that came through here the other day with that fat slave trader.
That's them.
Well, what did you do?
I quit. If I work alongside of slaves, it'd be the same as saying I believed in slavery, wouldn't it?
Could be taken that way.
It sure could. But now here's the rub. Now Gahegan won't pay me for the 3 months' work I already put in. So what should I do?
Why are you asking me?
Who should I ask? You're the head man here, ain't you? This place is named after you, ain't it?
I reckon it is.
Well, so there ain't nobody else to ask.
Well, I reckon your only way out is to sue.
Well, now, how do I do that?
Well, you know the man down at the tavern, Cincinnatus?
Yeah.
Well, he's a justice of the peace. Go see him.
And that's the best you've got to offer?
That's it. Unless he sues you back for busting up his furniture.
I've already agreed to mend his furniture, and when I'm through, it'll be better than what he had in the first place. And that's more than I can say for Kentucky.
Now, what's wrong with Kentucky?
Look at the mess it's in. A man can't collect what's owed him.
If it's an honest debt, he'll collect it.
You bet I will. Thanks for nothing. Hey, wait a minute. What do you mean, honest debt? You casting doubts on my honesty?
I said the court will decide it.
Well, I'm casting doubts on yours.
Now, you just wait just a minute.
That wasn't no honest punch that flattened me out.
What was it?
It was a lucky punch.
While you're fixing those other chairs, you can fix my wife's too. If you can.
chair.
He sat on it too hard. Good day, Mr. Lincoln.
What was that about?
Take a look at my ear.
Not again. Oh, I'm sorry for Nancy's sake.
What's Nancy got to do with this?
Tom Lincoln is the one Nancy wants for the father of her boy baby. Coming here to Boonesboro for a job was just an excuse to follow him.
Well, did she get the job?
Yes, they were glad to get her.
Now, just a minute. Did she say she followed him here?
Oh, of course not. But didn't you see the way her eyes lit up when you first mentioned his name?
No.
And didn't you see how she defended him when she said you must have riled him?
Yeah, I heard that.
And did you see how she tied into him for fighting?
Yeah, I heard that too, but I still got whomped in the ear.
You men can be so thick-headed about some things. They're in love. I'll bet a stack of feathers on it.
Well, I'll wager that no baby boy of Tom Lincoln's will ever amount to much. Here, give me that.
Cincinnatus. Where's Cincinnatus?
Down the river. Went to serve a paper for me.
For you? Why?
I'm bringing suit against Den Gehegan. Worked for him for 3 months, and I won't pay him.
Well, who's minding the store?
I am.
I'd like a pound of sugar on the Burns account and a half a pound of black pepper.
I'll weigh them out.
How long you gonna be in Boonesboro?
At least till I mend this furniture.
You ain't getting paid for that either.
No, I ain't.
Well, looks like you're not getting ahead so fast, are you?
I've been spoke to by Ezra Bean. He wants me to make him up some white oak barrels. He's starting a whiskey distillery.
Then you'll be staying on a spell?
Maybe. And maybe not. Some fella spoke to me, and he wants me to go buffalo hunting with him out on the prairies.
Buffalo? Prairies?
How do you like your job?
Fine. Burns are kindly folk.
What do you have to do?
Oh, just chore around. Women's work. First thing in the morning, I milk.
How many cows they got?
3, but only 2's fresh. And then I get the babies up and make breakfast.
Pancakes?
Sometimes.
Can you flip them?
Of course I can flip them.
How high?
High enough to turn them around.
Clever woman could flip them up a chimney and run outside and catch them coming down.
Well, I ain't that. You're joking me, ain't you?
Fixing to get mad, wasn't you?
God bless you.
This is black pepper. This is black pepper. What do you do after breakfast?
I make cheese and sew dotties and wash the babies. And then I make dinner and hoe the cabbages and round the cows in and milk them. Then on Monday, I do the washing and on Tuesday, the ironing. This morning, I strained out a tub of wild honey. But that ain't every day. Mrs. Burns, she's so poorly that I had to put her to bed, too. But then, I get to sit by the fire and read my storybook on my Bible. It's my favorite part of the day, reading a little.
Reading?
What's the matter with reading?
Puts notions in your head.
Well, a head should have some notions in it.
Not the kind you got.
Well, what kind should it have, like yours? If your head had some notions in it instead of all that wrath, you wouldn't be working here for nothing.
Oh, Miss Nancy!
Hello, Adrian.
Pa told me to tell you. We got some books.
Well, that's wonderful. What books?
I don't know, but one of them's a fable book.
Aesop's Fables?
Yeah.
Did you read it?
No, I told you. I don't like books.
Good boy.
Could I borrow it?
I reckon that's why Pa told me to tell you.
Good. Then I'll amble over tonight and get it. Well, you thank your pa for me, Israel.
Still at it, Mr. Lincoln?
Well, when I get going, I'm too lazy to stop.
I see you were socializing with Nancy Hanks. That's nice.
Yeah, in a way it was. We was acquainted in Elizabethtown.
She must get quite lonesome here.
You never get lonesome when you're working, and she's busy as a horse's tail in fly time.
You know, she'll make somebody a fine wife.
Why are you doing this, Mrs. Boone?
Doing what?
Trying to make a marriage twixt Nancy Hanks and me? Ain't that what you're up to?
Yes, I am. I like Nancy Hanks. And I think she's gone on you. And I like you, and I think you're gone over her, too, whether you know it or not. Something's keeping you two apart. I don't see why I shouldn't try to find out what it is and bring you together.
Mind you, I'm drawn to her, huh? Even sparked her some. Took her to a Baptist camp meeting once. But then I drew back.
Why?
I couldn't put a reason on it. Did she say why she came here?
To look for work.
It ain't that. It was to follow me.
Do you think that?
Well, what else can I think? Besides, she's upset. I want a different kind of woman. Got my eyes on one, too. As soon as I'm shut of these jobs here, I'm gonna do something about her.
Who is the lucky girl?
You know Christopher Bush in Elizabethtown, the German fellow with all the sons?
No.
They're good boys. No back out in them. They never duck a fight when it's necessary, and nobody ever heard them holler enough.
I take it they have a sister.
Yep. She's the one. Name her Sari. Sarah. She don't get me fired up the way Nancy does, but she's solid like her brothers.
Solid? Do you love her?
I could if I took her to wife.
That's no way to start. You have to... Well, I just hope you're making the right decision.
Well, excuse me, Mrs. Boone. Cincinnati's is back. Hello. You served the soup paper on Denton Gehegan?
Yes, I done it. Had to dog him all the way to Elizabethtown to do it, but it's served. Now I got one to serve you. Denton Gehegan is countersuing you back.
On what grounds?
He says the timbers you hewed out for him wasn't cut true and square.
That's a lie.
Well, if it is, it'll come out in the trial. Well, Becky, how you been?
Fine. Things been pretty quiet.
Well, he sure wasn't quiet in Elizabethtown.
How was that?
They had a big wedding. I tell you, there's more victuals than you ever seen in your life. And old pies and cakes.
Who got married?
Well, Daniel Johnson, the new jailer over there, and you ought to seen him pour that liquor on. There was corn whiskey here, there was West India rum, dandelion wine, and oh, I tell you, that was a big wedding. And if I got myself a big head. Excuse me, Becky.
Who'd the jailer marry?
Huh?
The bride. Who was the bride?
Oh, she's a big, strapping, yellow-haired gal by the name of Sari. Sari Bush it was, yeah. I got to get in the tavern, if I can get my head through the door.
Flatnose was a bad Indian, wasn't he?
Well, he burned a lot of white men at the stake. Three that I know of.
Well, when he was killed, did you peel off his hide and make your razor stomp out of it?
I certainly did not. That made me as bad as he was. Who told you that?
Foxy Graham.
Well, Foxy Graham was stretching the truth like his old man does occasionally. Come around here and hold this for me. As a matter of fact, my razor strop was made out of a piece of buffalo hide.
I told you wouldn't skin him.
Well, thank you for sticking up for me.
Can possums talk?
I reckon they talk to one another.
No, I mean talk English.
Now, who told you that?
Cincinnatus. I heard him gabbing to some men. He said that you're the best rifle shot in Kentucky. And even the possums know it. He said once, you treat a possum. You were just drawing a bead on it. And he yelled up, "Say your prayers, possum. This is Daniel Boone down here." He yelled down, "Don't you down? I'll come down."
Well, that's a stretcher, son, but it's a better story.
Nancy Hank says that books can make you laugh and cry, can they?
Well, it makes some folks laugh and cry. Did you tell her we've got some books?
I told her. She says books take you way out yonder. Do they?
Well, the good ones do.
Never took me way out yonder. Maybe I should try another one.
Well, it wouldn't do you any harm. You haven't been doing too good in your learning. Maybe it'd help to read a few books.
That's not the kind of learning I want. I want to learn how to kill bears and trap varmints like you do.
Well, these old times are changing. Kentucky's not always going to be the dark and bloody ground. Pretty soon a man will have to be educated just to live here.
I don't see what's wrong with being a trapper and a hunter.
Oh, hi, Nancy.
Good evening, Mr. Boone. Israel?
Come to borrow a book?
Yes, I have, thank you. Books ain't as plenty as wildcats in these parts. I come to borrow Aesop's fables. And I brung you Robinson Crusoe. I know you like it. It's about the adventures of a man cast away on a desert island.
Thank you.
There you are, son. Read it. But tomorrow, it's bedtime.
Night, Pa. Night, Nancy.
Come on in, Nancy. Rebecca, Nancy Hanks is here.
Nancy! Oh, Nancy, how nice to see you. Did you hear the news Cincinnatus brought back from Elizabethtown?
No, ma'am. We was fixing to boil up some soap, and I was busy all day leaching out ashes and making lye.
Well, there was a big wedding over there. And guess who got married? Sari Bush and Daniel Johnson.
Sarah Bush.
I do believe you're crying. I thought it'd make you happy.
Well, I'm sad for Tom. He was gone on Sari.
No, he wasn't. He told me so.
He did?
Yes. He told me he thought she'd make a good wife, but he wasn't gone on her. Now, you stop that crying.
Here's a book.
Thank you. I'll take good care of her.
I told Nancy about the wedding. Now she has a clear feel for Tom Lincoln.
Oh, Tom Lincoln won't never marry me. He's got something against me.
Well, what in the world has he got against you?
Well, I don't know. He gets close and then he backs away. What do you think it is?
Well, I don't know either, Nancy, unless... Well, maybe he doesn't like the idea of your following him over here. May think it's a little too forward.
Who says I followed him over here? Is that what he told you?
Well, he sort of mentioned it.
And you think that that's why Tom is so standoffish? He thinks I'm too forward?
He does. It's a mighty silly reason. Come in.
too. I'm sorry about Sari Bush getting married to that new fella.
Oh, I'll get over it. Now we'll have to go through all that sparking. That ain't the real reason I'm glad. Maybe Sari Bush wasn't the woman at the fireplace. My dream.
Dream?
I've been having a dream lately. My sleep. Same dream. Every night.
About a woman?
Yeah. I go up this little path. A strange cabin. Just like we done here. And I know what's inside. Bearskins on the bed. And seed corn hanging down from the rafters. I know there's a woman in there. That's when I get scared. But I force myself to push open the door and look in. There she is. Sitting at the fireplace.
Doing what?
I don't know. That's what haunts me. Her back is always facing me. I know she's the woman I'm gonna take to wife. But I can't see what she's doing or who she is.
Poor Tom.
You have to go in right away?
Yes. Good night. I don't work all day on the Sabbath. After dinner, I usually go down by the river and sit on the bank. Get a hold of myself a little. Good night.
All right, and now remember, some of them are big and some small, but they all got my initials, TL cut in one end, and they're all cut square, straight, and true.
So you told me.
I'd be 48 of them, and look out for some Gehegan might have had cut after I left.
Now, that'll be enough instructions, Tom. I got something for you.
About what?
About Nancy Hanks. Suppose she did come here looking for a job. Does that mean she was following you? And what if she did? There's no reason to back off from a girl. And who are you to judge, anyhow?
That's my business and not yours.
All I'm trying to say is, don't be so pumpkin-headed about it. If you're so strung out about being honest, why don't you be honest with yourself for a change?
Well, that does it.
Well, cool off, Tom.
You just take care of the logs. I'll take care of my women.
Why I'm doing this for an opinionated, horn-handed, fly-by-night, backwoods carpenter is more than I can figure out.
Oh, all the way to Shawnee's Town, long time ago. And when we ain't talking, you can almost hear the bells.
Bells?
Bells. Bells ringing out the glory.
The glory of what?
Of the world. Of the trees and the heavens. Mortal man with feet of clay. Gone tomorrow and here today. The glory of being alive. Here. I brought some of my biscuits. You want to try one?
Don't mind if I do.
There's fresh churned butter on it. And see? A square of bare bacon. I'm a good cook.
Never said you wasn't.
Never said nothing much, except your stories.
It ain't your cooking. I can eat anything set before me.
Then what?
Well, it's
Well, is it because I come to live here in Boonesboro?
It ain't none of my business where you live. Who am I to sit in judgment on that?
Then what is it?
Well, if you must know, it's your giddy goose-capped ways. You're brain wild and notional. Your head's full of dreams and legends and strange stories and philosophies you get God knows where.
Well, you have dreams.
I have one dream, and it ain't like yours. And I don't hear bells on the riverbank or voices in the woods and reading books all the time. What kind of a woman is that to take to wife? To abide with? What are you?
I'm a believer.
Believer in what?
I believe in babies and people and animals and fishes and flowers and houses and farms and in hunger and thirst and in life and eternity after life. And that's what I am. And that's the kind of wife I'm going to be.
That ain't the kind of woman to mother my son. I want a practical boy who'll grow up to be a useful man. And I want a woman who can teach him that. With all the wild notions in your head, how could you teach him anything that'd be any good to him?
Well, I could teach him. And more than just swinging an axe.
No. No, you wouldn't be a fit mother.
Well, then go! Go find yourself a mother fit enough for your son. And get off of my riverbank!
I might have known I couldn't get a fair trial here at Boonesboro. It's robbery, that's what it was, robbery. And them's the ones that did it to me. Are you all in cahoots? The whole bunch of you. And you call yourself a judge, do you? Well, the curse of Michael Feeney be on you. And you big busybody, you're the one that did it to me. You framed me. You're all in cahoots, the whole bunch of you.
Cincinnatus, do you hear a fly buzzing?
A fly buzzing? Well, I don't have to stand here and take your insults too, Mr. Boone. Fine bunch.
Here's your hat, Mr. Gehagen.
Me hat?
Let's be on our way, Mr. Gehagen. I'm obliged for your help, Miss Boone.
I just told the truth.
I'll get on your porch chair right away, Miss Boone.
And I'll get back to the tavern.
Israel! I need some firewood. Israel, you hadn't had your nose out of that book since the trial.
Just a minute, Ma.
This minute, firewood.
Yes, ma'am.
Good day.
Oh, fair. Israel finished his storybook?
Well, he was about to when his cruel mother made him do his chores. Mr. Lincoln.
Here's your porch chair. Where would you like it?
Put it right there and come on in.
Well, how much do I owe you, Lincoln?
Not a thing. Present for Miss Boone.
Thank you very much. Tea? Coffee?
Oh, no thanks. I gotta be moving on.
Oh, you must be getting ready to start your whiskey barrels.
No, I'm passing that up. I'm on my way to New Orleans.
New Orleans? How?
Well, I'm gonna go down to the Ohio and build me a broadhorn flatboat, float her to the big river, and then on to the French settlements. Want to go partners with me?
Me? Partners?
I know you won't cheat me none.
Well, that's a fact, but... No, there are too many people down that way to suit me.
Well, we could sell the flatboat for the lumber in it and then come on home.
And what if he can't sell the boat or gets stove up in a wreck?
Oh, I've lived on acorns and slept in the rain before. I reckon I can do it again. How about it?
Well,
He'll do no such thing. He's going to stay right here in Kentucky. And that's what you should do, too. Take your Gehagen money and buy a farm. Build a cabin and settle down.
Well, you gotta have a wife to settle down, and I ain't got no wife.
When are you leaving?
Right away.
Aren't you going to say goodbye to Nancy Hanks?
No, I ain't. I don't care what I dream about. A man can't mess up his life on account of what he sees in his sleep. I ain't gonna take her to wife, and that's final.
All right, don't.
If you don't want me on her riverbank, I'll stay off her riverbank.
Take an awful lot of wood chopping to make one of those flatboats.
The more to sell, the better. The more lumber.
Well, you aim to do it with this thing? Well, that's as dull as butter paddle.
That's the only thing that frets me. I ain't found no place to sharpen it.
Well, I might be able to help you. I know there's a mighty fine grindstone.
Where?
Come along and I'll show you.
Hey, wait a minute. What are you doing, playing tricks on me? This is where Nancy Hanks works.
The grindstone's out and back. Come on, she won't see you.
Howdy, Daniel.
Nick. Tom Lincoln, Nick Burns.
Oh, Mr. Lincoln. Howdy do. Want to sharpen the axe, do you?
I'd be obliged.
My wife didn't want me to fetch this stone long, but it's made me friends with every man east of the Green River. You'll need some more water, Nancy. That's the helpingest girl I ever met. Never gets tuckered out, and she's got my kids lined up like a squad of Hessian soldiers. Every one of them doing a chore, and if they don't know how, she shows them. Even their ABCs. You know, I got me a hired girl and a schoolmarm, both for the price of one, and she's a born teacher. Well, have at it. I got work to do. Turn for him, Nancy.
Thank you, Nick.
I finished it. I read all the way through it. And I didn't get any spots on it, neither. Washed my hands every time before I touched it.
Well, it belongs to treat a book like that. But did you like it?
Oh, yes. Wasn't it good? He lived on that island for 24 years, all by himself.
Who?
Robinson Crusoe. And when he saw the footprints in the sand, crime and Antley, wasn't that a dinger?
Always gets me in the throat, that part.
Did me, too.
Well, who made the footprints?
A savage, like a Shawnee, only darker. The cannibals were about to eat him. Robinson Crusoe saved him. It was on a Friday, so Robinson named him My Man Friday.
A slave?
No. But wasn't Robinson handy with his tools? I mean, the way he made his house and built his fort.
Tools? That's in the book?
It is. And wasn't old Robinson a good man? Praying to God and cleaving to the promises in the Bible, keeping his faith.
Doing all the good he could, even when he was taming his goats. What else have you got, Nancy? What other books?
Just my Bible. I didn't think you liked books.
You changed me. I never knew they had so much good stuff in them.
Well, then I'll give you back your fable book. It's got lots of good stuff in it. Only you'll have to think some to get it out. Could you do that?
I can try.
If you try, then you'll do it.
Maybe there is something to getting some learning. Paul always says times are changing, and a man has to get educated to get along in Kentucky.
Your pa is right.
Looks like you've taught him a valuable lesson, Nancy. I'm much obliged to you.
If she could do that for your boy, she could do it for her own. Couldn't she?
Well, I don't know why not. Maybe even better as a mother.
Yes. I don't think I ever said this before in my whole life, but I'm saying it now. I was wrong. I'm a pumpkin-headed, fly-by-night carpenter.
Jesus was a carpenter. And so was his father.
There's a sight of difference twixt me and Jesus. Jesus never got married.
Neither did you.
No, but I want to. Had a dream again last night.
About the woman by the fireplace.
She finally turned around.
Did you see her face?
Yes?
Who was she?
She was you.
What?
So will you, Nancy?
Will I what?
Will you do me the honor to be my wife and the mother of my son?
Yes, I will. And thank you for the offer.
For a confirmed bachelor, you seem mighty anxious to get the knot tied.
It's a long trip down the river to my brother's place.
Well, be sure to tell Mordecai hello.
I will.
You can stop pacing, Tom. Here she comes.
I said goodbye to everybody. Cincinnati's broke down and cried.
Just wish we were having the wedding here.
Oh, Tom wants his brother to stand up with him.
Well, the canoe's all loaded. Your tools and stuff, and your basket and books are all wrapped in fawn skin.
Thank you, Israel.
Well, that's it then.
Let us know when you have a baby and if it's a boy or not.
Oh, it'll be a boy, all right. Tom can teach him how to split rails, but there'll still be plenty of room left in his head for book notions, too, won't there?
If you say so.
And we'll name him after your father, Tom.
I'd like that. Well, we better be going.
Thank you, Becky,
Good luck,
for
Tom.
everything.
Tom.
Thank you,
Bye,
Dad.
Nancy.
God bless.
Can I go see him off?
Go ahead, son.
A boy, baby. Maybe he will rise to high places.
Yeah, he might even be president someday.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. What was Tom's father's name?
Abraham. Abraham Lincoln.
Mighty are the evil spirits of the woodland that have the power to do us harm, little Hawk. But mightier still is the good medicine for Manitou, the great spirit that vanquishes them.
Tequitana speaks with great wisdom. For many moons, there's been war between us, Tequitana. As a blood brother of the Shawnee, as a friend of the Cherokee and the Tuscarora, I say that the white man and the red man should learn to live together in peace. I'm glad that Gabe has finally been able to arrange this meeting between us.
The ways of Manitou are strange, Boone. Strange even to the cunning of Tuscarora. It is not given to us alone to understand these. What remains mysterious to us may be knowledge to the white man. That is why I call you here today. The white medicine man. He is still in Boonesboro.
The white teacher, Pickering. It is Tequitano's wish to place his son in the white man's school.
To bring friendship and understanding between white man and Tuscarora. Lil Huck should be armed with both Tuscarora wisdom and white man knowledge. Your face darkens, Big Turtle. It is not your wish to bring understanding between our people?
As Tequitano bears witness, that has always been my wish. But my heart remains troubled. The white men of the settlement have often shown anger toward the Tuscarora, and the Tuscarora toward the whites. Even the small ones, of school age, both red and white, are not without anger. I wouldn't want anything to happen to Little Hawk, for that would destroy all chances of peace between us.
Little Hawk could stay with you, Boone.
We'd be honored to have him.
Then it is decided. Little Hawk will go with you now to attend school to the white man. Farewell, my son. Stand proud. Listen wisely. I know you will not disgrace us in the school of the white man.
Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, with an eye like an eagle and as tall as a mountain was he. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man. He was brave, he was fearless, and as tough as a mighty oak tree. From the coonskin cap on the top of old Dan to the heel of his rawhide shoe, the rippin'est, roaring'est, fighting'est man the frontier ever knew. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, and he fought for America to make all Americans free. Daniel Boone.
What'd he say?
Well, he didn't say no, and he didn't say yes.
What do you mean he didn't say yes or no?
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is I didn't ask him.
You didn't ask him? Oh, Dan, that boy's expecting to go to school tomorrow.
I know.
Daniel Boone, you march right back to that schoolhouse and tell Amos Pickering he has another pupil.
Mr. Pickering. Oh, it isn't the man himself, Becky. It's just that stream of words that he can hurl at you. The first thing you know, you're sinking down in the bog of ancient history and Greek.
Well, Greeks or no Greeks, he's going to teach Little Hawk just like the rest of them.
Well, I promised Gabe and Tequitano that he'd get schooling. The only thing I didn't do was ask Mr. Pickering.
He's getting paid, isn't he?
Yeah, manner of speaking. But don't forget, he became our schoolmaster on the condition that he run the school with no interference from any of us.
Nobody's telling him how to run the school. Just telling him who to teach.
Mr. Pickering?
Oh, Mr. Boone, I didn't hear you come in.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Non omnia possumus omnes. When I read Virgil, I lose all sense of time. Don't you?
I have enough trouble ciphering English, let alone Latin.
Then let me translate. We are not all capable of everything. And they say Latin is a dead language.
Mr. Pickering, there's something else that's not exactly dead around here.
Yes, Mr. Boone?
I'm talking about Indians.
Ah, the noble savage.
Well, the truth of the matter is they're no more noble than we are, or more savage. They're just people.
Come to the point, Mr. Boone.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that I promised an Indian chief we'd give a son of his some schooling.
You promised?
I'm afraid I did.
Splendid. It'll be a great challenge to mold a gentleman out of a little savage. I presume I shall be paid for my services?
Oh, yes, indeed. Some people consider their coinage better than ours.
Capital, Boone. Capital.
Good breakfast, huh, Little Hawk?
Yes, very good.
Think you like Whiteman's food? What's wrong? Did I say something funny?
I'm afraid you did, Israel. You call this white man's food.
Well, it is, isn't it? I've been eating it all my life. Blueberries, Johnny cake with honey, and broiled trout.
That's Indian food, Israel. We got it from them.
Indians were making pancakes out of cornmeal and eating it with wild honey long before the white man came.
They just showed us how to do it. Berries and fish have always been favorite Indian food.
Not only for breakfast, anytime.
And don't forget about potatoes, pumpkins, squash, beans, yams. It's all Indian food. We learned about it from them.
And we're supposed to be teaching you our ways.
We will. He has a lot to learn. But we want him to know about our history, how we govern ourselves, what we believe in.
By learning the ways of the white man, my father says I serve as a link between the white man and the red.
Israel, I've got an important job for you.
You can trust me, Pa.
I want to make sure that Little Hawk gets started in school the right way, and that you help him with his lessons and that he gets along with the kids.
That's a big responsibility, Israel.
I can handle it.
Injun, smelly butt, where's the feathers of a duck? Injun, stinks to the tent, has no money, pays no rent. Injun, smelly buck, where's the feathers of a duck?
Where'd you get the duck feathers?
It's an eagle feather.
Nah, duck feathers.
Stop it! Stop it this instant! Get up. Get up, all of you. Stop this! You know I never permit violence in my school. If there is to be any violence, I shall administer it.
There wouldn't have been any trouble, sir, if that Injun hadn't showed up.
Yeah, we don't want any redskin kids in our school.
And Israel Boone brung him.
Brought. It's brought. Now, I shall decide who attends my school. All of you, march. I've had enough trouble for one day. I will tolerate no more. Now, before we begin today's lesson, I want to make very clear my position with regard to our new pupil. Now then, as a settlement, we have had our problems with the Tuscarora. And I dare say they have had their problems with us. But hopefully, we are in a new era of good feelings. And I hereby charge all of you to treat our new pupil with the same consideration that you would extend to any new boy. I hope it will not be necessary for me to mention this subject again. Oh, Mr. Boone.
Well, excuse me, Mr. Pickering. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's always a privilege to welcome the leader of our community.
Thank you. I just thought I'd stick my head in and see how things were going.
Splendidly, Mr. Boone. Splendidly. Did you think otherwise?
No, sir. Little Hawk's father is aware that the schoolmaster must be paid monthly for giving education in wampum or white man's goods.
That's correct. Payment in advance.
One pair of moccasins.
To comfort your feet.
1 dried fish.
Good to eat. Last many weeks.
1 bear claw necklace.
A necklace of bear claws?
To wear on festivals and holidays.
But bear claws?
Well, as you say yourself, Mr. Pickering, each pupil according to his ability to pay.
Yes.
It's Little Hawk's most cherished possession. He killed the bear himself.
It must have been a very large bear.
In his tribe, it's a part of the test of manhood.
How'd you kill him?
With a spear.
Well, that took great courage. You had to get quite close. All right, class, resume your seats. Little Hawk, please stand and tell us exactly how much education you have had, if any.
A missionary lived with my tribe many moons. He taught me how to speak the language of the Yengeese. He also taught me how to write. I know the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Wonder how the boys are doing in school, Boone.
Oh, I reckon they've had time to settle down. Edgar never was much of a scholar, but he's taken to it without too much of a fuss. At least he's never made a ruckus. As for, Little Hawk, I reckon he's had time to get used to the routine, settle down. Wouldn't surprise me to learn that he fits in just like a hand in a glove. All in all, I'd say things couldn't be much better.
Now then, the lower grades will write 3 verses from Mother Goose, from memory. Watch your penmanship. The middle grades will work out these problems in arithmetic at your desks. And the upper grades will write a brief description of the conquest of the Persian Empire by Alexander the Great. Yes, Little Hawk? Something you don't understand?
No, I understand what is to be done. I am puzzled about something else.
In regard to what?
Alexander the Great.
And why is that subject your concern?
Because I've sat here for many days, listening to you speak of him and of other great heroes of the white man. I've been here for almost 1 week. I've heard the teachings of the white man, his laws, his customs, his ancient kings, his heroes.
The past is the key to the future.
The Indians also have laws, customs, heroes, battles, traditions, and tales of ancient days.
Go on.
Why do you not teach of the great Indian hero, Hiawatha, a Mohawk who united the 5 Iroquois tribes?
Are you quite serious?
If the red man is to learn the white man's ways, surely the white man should learn the ways of the red man.
This is preposterous.
My father is a wise man. He has said, understanding is a path that travels 2 ways.
Yes, Joe, what is it?
It sounds like a good idea, Mr. Pickering. It'd be a lot more interesting learning about Indians than about those old Romans and freaks you told us about.
Greeks, not freaks. And studying the classics simply cannot be compared with learning the habits and superstitions of primitive savages.
But the Indians have taught us an awful lot about...
Enough. Let there be an immediate end to this discussion. It is my position that schools are not supposed to teach white children about Indians. It has never been done, and I see no point to it. Now, get on with your lessons.
Hey, Little Hawk, tell us some more things about the Redskins.
Yeah, tell us what you want old Pickering to teach us about. There's too much to know. It would take many moons. I cannot tell everything in one afternoon.
Just give him an idea. Tell him some of the tests you had to take for that manhood.
Yeah. Most of it is secret. I would first have to get permission from the tribal elders. But I can tell you this. They tested my endurance, my courage, and my ability to withstand pain without crying out.
Gee, when my old man wallops me, I yell.
How come Indians always have such funny names? Like Little Hawk and Yellow Lance, Standing Bear, White Cloud? When an Indian child is born, the father walks out of the teepee full of happiness. And whatever he sees first, or the first thing that enters his mind, is what he names the child. That is supposed to bring good luck to the baby. When I was born, my father saw a Little Hawk. When the child grows up, he can choose another name if it pleases him. I wish I was an Indian. I'd sure call myself something besides Jonathan.
Hey, tell us something about your medicine man.
His most important job is to cure sickness. We call him shaman. The family of the sick person must pay him in advance to make the cure. But there's one great difference between the shaman and the doctor of the white people.
What's that?
If the patient dies, he has to pay back the fee. The shaman can also change himself into an animal, talk to spirits, travel to the other world, make rain, foretell the future.
Oh, we don't have a doctor like that, do we?
Gee, I never reckoned there was so much to learn about Indians. I'd sure like to learn about that stuff a lot more than about old Julius Caesar and King George III.
We all agree about it. Thing is, how do we convince Pickering to teach it in school? Tell you what we'll do. I'll get some of the other guys. Think about it. And after supper, we'll meet in the old cave. See if anybody thought of anything.
Looks like everybody's here. Anybody got any ideas?
Suppose we all stay out of school for a few days. That'd make old Pickering give in.
Nah, that's no good. Then our folks will paddle us for not going.
Yeah, they'd give us extra chores if we're not in school.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, look. We want old Pickering to start teaching us about Indians, right?
Sure, we've already decided that.
And we're sore because he won't do it, right?
Joe Higby, will you stop telling us stuff we already know?
What you don't know is we got us what they call a grievance.
What's a grievance?
It's something that ain't fair. Grievances are what the Patriots had at the First Continental Congress. We learned about it in school.
Hey, that's right.
Yeah, it kind of stuck in my mind at the time because I had a grievance that we had to learn about all them grievances. Well, anyway, remember what the delegates did at the Congress?
Well, sure. They picked a committee, and then the committee made a list of all the colonial grievances. And they presented it all to the king in the form of a petition.
That's what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
Petition to Pickering.
Hey, that's good. Well, if the Patriots who started this country can do it, so can we. Pickering will have to give in. He's the one who told us about it.
Extraordinary. Utterly incredible. This is the most amazing document I have ever seen. 8 completely different sets of handwriting. The word grievance misspelled 5 different ways, and numerous other examples of unbelievable orthography. Sentence structure that threatens to destroy the very foundations of our language, and penmanship that can only be compared to the tracks made in wet snow by a drunken squirrel. Obviously, a cooperative effort. You didn't trust any single individual to do the job, so you botched it up collectively. The technical aspects of this document notwithstanding, I am deeply impressed by the concept of the petition, also by the sentiments expressed herein. I wish to compliment all of you on the approach you took. However, this school is not the Continental Congress, and I am not King George. And much as I may be in favor of a democracy, no school can be run like one. A school is a place of learning where the schoolmaster has absolute power to decide every aspect of the curriculum. And so, my dear young pupils, I know it will grieve you to hear this, but your request to begin a course of Red Indian Studies is hereby Denied.
Seems like the only thing old Pickery knows about partitions is how to spell it.
What do we do now?
I don't know.
Tuscarora have wise saying. Chikwasea tush pachinio.
What does that mean?
Silence is the ambush of the weak.
You mean...
You haven't done your homework.
No, sir.
Baxter, I'm disappointed in you. Usually you're one of the boys I can depend upon to do his lessons. Take your seat. Jonathan, you name the two patriots who organized the Boston Tea Party.
I don't know, sir.
All right, class. All together. This is most unusual. Doesn't anybody know anything? Yesterday was a unique experience in the history of collective human stupidity. Never have I seen a class so utterly devoid of knowledge. I hope today there will be a vast improvement. Israel, open your reader and turn to the biblical story of David and Goliath and read the first paragraph aloud.
David was a young sheeper.
Shepherd. The word is shepherd.
Shepherd boy who tended his flock while King Saul...
Saul. King Saul.
Oh, yeah, King Saul was at war with the Philistines.
Philistines. Joe, will you come to the blackboard and work out the problem, showing every step?
I won't be able to do it, sir.
Why not?
I can't hold the chalk.
And why, pray tell, can't you hold the chalk?
I hurt my hand. I'm in awful pain.
Little Hawk, you've shown great proficiency in arithmetical computation. Will you come to the blackboard and solve the problem for the class?
I cannot hold the chalk either, sir.
What happened to you?
I was wrestling with Joe. I too hurt my hand.
Extraordinary. Perhaps you'll all feel better after lunch. Class dismissed. Well, class, now that our jolly lunchtime recess is over, let us get back to work. These are the parts of speech of the English language. Noun, verb, adjective, adverb, conjunction, preposition, pronoun, interjection. Now then, class, copy these on your papers and write a word to illustrate the use of each one. Well, proceed.
I lost my copybook.
Someone broke my pen.
I don't have any more ink.
Someone stole my inkwell.
Mine too.
What'd you say about conjunctions?
What's a pronoun?
Enough. Well, my friends, we have come to the end of a most interesting experience. This has all been a clever little plot to bring me to heel, eh? I would not accede to your demands to provide instruction about Indians. So you call a general revolt to bring me to heel. You seem eager to learn. Well, you will learn one very important lesson. Amos Pickering is not a man to be easily intimidated. I am herewith breaking up the revolt. I know who the ringleaders are, and they will be dealt with. Israel Boone, you will proceed to the woodpile and chop wood for the classroom stove. A 3-month supply will do for the start. Little Hawk, my wily redskin antagonist, you will secure whitewash, a bucket and a brush, and proceed to paint the schoolhouse and the fence. Joseph Higby, Jonathan Latimer, and Baxter Warren, you 3 co-conspirators will write 1,000 times the sentence, "I will not scheme against my teacher again." Well now, get on with it. Perhaps you did not hear?
We heard you, Mr. Pickering, and we're not going to do it. We're not going to be disciplined for doing something that we believe in.
Indeed. I will not tolerate defiance, nor I suspect will your parents, when I call a town meeting for tomorrow night.
White brothers, it gladdens my heart to see how much you try to help. Do not blame yourselves for having failed. Now it is my turn.
Got an idea?
I will go into the forest and pray and fast all night. I will ask Manitou, the Great Spirit, for guidance. He will tell me what we must do.
Think it'll work?
That is what the tribal chiefs do when they seek wisdom.
Well, I'd like to go with you, do all that stuff. 2 of us working will happen faster.
You do not realize what you ask. It is hard for one who is not accustomed to it. It is better that I go alone.
Maybe I never took any of that manhood test or anything. But I reckon I can do anything you can.
As you wish.
It's a frost in the air tonight, boys. You sure you're not going to need some more cover?
No, thank you, Mom.
You know, I can still heat your supper up. You didn't have a thing to eat.
No, we're not hungry.
Well, that's no way for growing boys to get any bigger.
What are you doing? It's freezing out here. All right. We have to put on war paint?
All Indian paint is not war paint. We paint our bodies and our faces for different reasons and in different ways. This is ceremonial paint.
I didn't know you had a frog. What are you gonna do, kill it?
No, we will do the frog dance to appease the gods, whom we respect for their wisdom.
Can I keep dancing? Keeps me warm. Just ask him.
O great spirit, which lives in everything, the sky, the earth, the trees, the grass, the animals and birds, hear us, we pray to you. Help us in our needs. Tell us what we must do to soften the heart of Pickering. Send us a vision.
Oh, great spirit, I'm not an Indian, so I don't know if you're supposed to listen to me. But I'd sure be mighty pleased if you came through with everything little Huck just got through asking. Sure is kind of cool out here. This paint don't do much to keep a fellow warm. Sitting out in the night air sure gets a fellow's appetite up. We didn't have any supper. You know what I do when I'm hungry at home in the middle of the night? I get up and have a snack.
You must continue to pray.
I'm praying. Praying I had some food.
It is important to refrain from eating. Only by fasting and praying will the Great Spirit help us. You have a vision?
I reckon I do. The Great Spirit of the Indians talked to me. I know just what to do to put the pressure on old Pickering.
What is it? Tell me.
I'll be glad to tell you right after breakfast. Oh, thanks a lot, Great Spirit. Come on.
Oh, that's the way I like to see boys eat. Guess a good night's sleep must have perked up your appetites.
Pedro, would you come out here a minute?
Sure, Pa.
I figured it's time for you and me to have a little talk.
What about?
Well, it seems Mr. Pickering is mighty upset with you. He's called a special parents' meeting tonight. You mind telling me what it's all about?
Fact is, I don't like school anymore.
It's kind of sudden, isn't it?
Teaches us stuff we don't have any use for, like old dead kings and queens and Mother Goose for kids. Fractions.
Well, Mr. Pickering's a fine teacher. He's teaching you important things like our country got its independence.
Sure. Y'all agree that's good to know, but all the other stuff's a waste of time compared to other things.
What other things? I'd like to hear about it.
Well, Little Hawk had a good idea. So we gave it to old Pickering. If Indians are going to learn about white folks so there'd be better understanding and peace, well, why can't white kids learn about Indians?
So what's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander.
Huh?
That's from one of those nursery rhymes you don't think much of. So you asked Mr. Pickering to tell you more about the Indians, and he refused.
He even drew up a list of grievances. When that didn't work, we decided to gang up on him, to make him give in.
What do you mean, gang up on him?
Guess you could call it mutiny.
And I take it that my son is one of the head mutineers? Why didn't you tell your mother and me about the reason for this revolt?
Decided not to tell our parents. They always side with the teacher.
Well, I reckon this is one parent that doesn't. I don't always agree with Mr. Pickering.
You don't?
No, I think it's a fine idea for you to learn more about Indians. I think you have a right to. But I think Mr. Pickering has some rights, too. He has a right to order and cooperation in the classroom. Now, you take care of that, and I'll do what I can about those Indian studies.
You will?
Sure. Don't know why not. I'll get a hold of Gabe. We can come over after class in the afternoon. I'll tell the parents about it at the meeting tonight.
Gee, thanks, Pa.
Get in there and finish your mush.
What, you stay up all night and fast and pray?
Sure we did.
Did you get a vision from the Great Spirit? He did.
I thought of a great plan. We won't need it now.
Why not?
Because we're going to get all we want. I talked my Pa into it.
How do we know we can trust him?
You saying you can't trust my Pa?
I'm saying you can't trust any grown-ups. Not when they're all together.
Well, I guess we're just going to have to attend that town meeting tonight.
And I confess that I am completely powerless to cope with such insurrection. Since the situation is so critical, I put it to you. You parents are the only ones who can deal effectively with your own children and crush this odious threat to the very existence of our school.
I say without trouble making young'uns need is a good tannin. I think it's the only way to learn them respect.
That's what We've heard from Mr. Pickering, and no doubt he's been sorely put on, and we've also heard from Mr. Higbee, and I can see that most of you favor his notion. Maybe our kids have gone about this all wrong, but their hearts were in the right place, and they want what we all want, peace with the Indians. And they think maybe that'll be easier to come by if they know more about them. Now, I think I have a way that we might be able to avoid Mr. Higbee's idea of a workout in the woodshed and still satisfy our schoolmaster and the young'uns. Now, why don't Gabe and I teach a class in Indian studies after school? That way, the young'uns would be getting what they want. Mr. Pickering would be getting what he wants, control, and everybody else could be happy.
I don't know about you folks, but I can't spare my boy for extra class time. I'm a widow, and he's got to help with the chores.
I can't spare mine neither. What good is it to know about Indians? It ain't important.
That's right, it ain't. The most important things that we should in school learn.
Our kids think it is. Well, maybe we ought to listen to them for a change.
Now, all they need to know is reading, writing, and arithmetic. Now, that's what school is for.
Well, that's right, and that's what we should do.
Let's put it to a vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be no vote. Mr. Boone, your son is the ringleader of a group of rebels. He has incited them to unruly behavior, disruption of orderly routine, and open defiance of my authority. And you, sir, have the temerity to propose teaching my pupils a subject I have decided was non-essential. By so doing, you also are undermining my authority. Under the circumstances, I have no alternative but to resign immediately. And you, sir, if you so ardently wish to become a teacher, can take over the entire school yourself.
You can't leave.
Find somebody else.
Because schoolmasters are harder to find than feathers on a fish.
We'll be months looking for another teacher.
And all that time, our young'uns ain't got no schooling at all.
I guess there's nothing to do except go ahead with plan.
Well,
You know, when the parents of Boonesboro get all riled up, they certainly can turn the air blue, and you blistered me pretty good. I feel that the kids would have benefited from Indian studies, but maybe you're right, and certainly regular school studies come first, and I wouldn't want to lose Mr. Pickering. So, I'll just withdraw my suggestion.
Yeah. Thank you. A wise decision, Mr. Boone. We all thank you. Now then, let's get on to other problems. We will have more pupils in school next year. We need to expand the schoolhouse, buy additional supplies.
So if we set up a community fund and all the families that have a child in school contributes to it, we'll have enough easily to get our supplies. What in the world are you doing?
Dressed up like Indians and made it rain, just like the grown-ups did.
Grown-ups? What do you mean, grown-ups?
The patriots in Boston. Mr. Pickering told us about them. They were protesting against injustice.
Yeah, Samuel Adams and Paul Revere and all of his friends. They pretended to be Indians, and they raided all the British ships in the harbor, threw all the tea in the ocean.
They call that the Boston Tea Party.
This is the Boonesboro Book Party.
Yeah!
The Boonesboro Book Party.
Just like the tea. Our school books are an injustice to us.
So we did what Samuel Adams did with the tea. We threw it in the ocean. I mean, well.
Well, Mr. Pickering, you're a real good teacher. These young'uns have learned their lessons real well. But that was a rather drastic way to show your feelings, wasn't it?
Just did what we reckoned was right, Pa. We had courage of our conviction, which you say people should always have. Just following your advice.
Perhaps my pupils consider me a harsh man, but I am also a fair one. Above all, I admire courage and independence of spirit. I can't help respect what my boys have done in defense of a principle. Remember that education has for its object the formation of character. And if I fail to teach them anything else, I should always admire the fact that they possess character. Now then, I believe I'm a more reasonable man than was King George of England. The Boonesboro Book Party has accomplished its purpose. And starting tomorrow, I will begin teaching what my pupils so adamantly want, the history and culture of their Indian neighbors.
Well, you're a real good man, Mr. Pickering, and we're real lucky to have you. But there's still a great big problem. We have to continue with our school studies, and we can't. All the books we have are gone. They're ruined.
Pa. We made sure they'd be all right. So before we put them in the bag, we wrapped them in waterproof oilskin.
I will outline briefly the areas we will cover. Regretfully, I am a novice in this field, but Mr. Boone and Mr. Cooper have graciously volunteered to help me whenever I falter.
You might just say we're visiting professors. Only you won't have to pay us in dried fish or bear claw necklaces.
There are many Indian tribes in North America, all of them loosely related, but their languages, customs, and traditions differ greatly. And because the subject is so vast, it's best that we concentrate on those tribes in our part of the country.
You're going to learn about Indian handicraft. As Little Hawk knows, the Indians are great pottery makers and basket weavers. And I'll teach you about this picture writing, which tells about their customs and legends.
We'll cover Indian government, their political organizations, their treaties, their laws. It may come as a surprise to many white people, but the 5 nations of the Iroquois Confederacy, the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, and Seneca, are very advanced politically. They have elected representatives, and they meet in a council house somewhat like our Congress.
I reckon I'm going to help Mr. Pickering tell you about Indian heroes. Pontiac, the chief of the Ottawas. Hiawatha, a Mohawk who united the 5 Iroquois tribes. Logan, the fighting chief of the Cayugas.
Logan's Indian name was Hayutaha.
Hayuta.
Do not feel badly. To an Indian, the name Pickering is just as difficult. Yes. I have been listening to your words, and to those of Boone, and to the mighty chief of the Blackskin, Kanawachakahu. I did not send my son to the school of the white man to learn about the ways of the Indian.
Well, Chief, the way it's working out, we're learning from one another.
You have filled my heart with gladness for what you have done for Little Huck.
Thank you.
But now, I have come to take my son with me.
Must he leave now?
It's time for the tribe to move on. They have to go where there's fresh game.
We will come back in 6 or 7 moons.
Can't you stay behind?
I have passed the test for manhood. I must do my share of the hunting.
Little Hawk. There will always be a place for you here. Until you come back, keep this with you.
It is good medicine. I will keep it to ward off the evil spirits of ignorance.